Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and the last couple weeks in my What is Scrapbooking series, we've talked about how to upload photos from your phone and how to put together custom pages digitally, as well as how to do a starter scrapbook page. In this episode, I want to share with you all how I scrapbook. And I think everybody approaches scrapbooking a little bit differently. And so you do need to find what works for you. And I am happy to share what works for me. As you can see, I have a good bit on my desk today, starting with my Power Layout Kit. This is one of the tools that I use from Creative Memories to put together my annual albums, which are the main albums I make. I do a couple of 8x8s as well. We will totally get into that in another video. And we're also going to be discussing the Power Layout Kit as well in another video. But I felt I would be remiss if I did not mention that this is a tool available on my website. I will have several of these products linked in the description box below this video. So I do use this system. The Power Layout Kit does come with dividers, but you can also buy extra ones for when you want to just segue and sort through different layouts that you might be working on, or if you're like me and already have pages done, or if you like to put your collections, pages from certain collections with certain pictures first. These little guides do help along the way. They are the 12 by 12 size, so work perfectly with our full size scrapbook pages. Another tool I use that we don't have really as many anymore. We do have some of our 12 card kit. I do use these boxes as one of my tools in my toolbox, if you will, for scrapbooking. It just does help me with some of my organizing. But I also do use the boxes that our photo prints come in as well for helping to sort my photos. When they come, I just make sure that they're in order, and then a lot of times I will put them back into the boxes. One of the new things I am doing this year is I am trying to print my photos monthly. And so here I started a box with my January 2024 photos. I have everything that I printed out in here ready to go with whatever pages I pick to put them on when I'm ready to work on my 2024 album. I am probably going to add in my February photos, but I do have those sorted in one of our 5x7 photo boxes. So the small ones aren't really available individually as much now on my website. I will link our beginner's class tool bundle, which comes with a clear version of this box. But we also do have a larger 5x7 photo box with cases. These are the cases, and we do have a large box that you can sort them into. Coming up, I will probably transition from my card box into my photo cases and then get those cases sorted into the photo box. I just think it's going to be an easy way to have my entire album for 2024 in one place. When I'm ready to work on it, I will have all my pictures in one location that I can just pull it over and start going through my process. Now, what is my process? You can see I've got a whole stack here. And one of the things I forgot to mention here, let me open up my case here. You can see I've written on this top photo. I originally thought that these were my January photos, and instead they were my February ones. So I took my photo labeling pencil, which is a handy thing to have, and I just wrote on the little printout that they send with your photos right on that. And now I know I've got my February photos in this kit. It's handy. Rather than having to pull out an extra Post-it note or something, I use something I already have that I was going to be probably tossing later anyways, because it's part of the packaging. So I teach you all how to use your index sheets. I teach you how to use your card boxes, and I teach you how to use your packaging from your printed photos. You know, it's not a bad thing to reuse some of those things. Okay, so now let's get into my pages. I'm going to go ahead and put this aside. I'm going to show you some completed pages first, and then I'm going to show you some that I have ready to put the photos on, and I'm going to show you how I decide where the photos go on to the pages. I also did pull out my personal trimmer because I will probably need to trim some photos, and I do have my scissors handy as well. I always keep them on my desk in a little sorter. If you've seen my craft room cleanup video, you'll probably see my sorter there on my desk with my scissors sticking up out of it. But this is my cover page from my 2022 album. We went to the Albuquerque Balloon Fest on my birthday, and I had created this page for one of my scrapbooking crops I did in New Mexico with the hot air balloons in our Wide Open Places collection, and it just was perfect to use with photos from that event. So I took and I corner rounded this one, and then you can see I just took my scissors and I cut around several of my other photos so I could put more than one photo on my cover page, but also show off the balloons I created as well. I will be doing a class in the fall to show you all how I put together these hot air balloons. If you would like to learn how to make these, you will find the link in the description box to my website, creativepageshub.com. Here is another 2-page spread I put together, and this one is, I think, maybe a little bit more tied into the mats than what I usually do, but I can see already I've got one of my photos on. It's not quite straight, but you know what? I'm okay with that. My journaling, I will say, is something I know I need to get a little more descriptive with and work on a little bit more, but I always try to make sure I have a place for where I can add those, and most of these layouts you probably would be able to find on my channel. Here is another one. Whoops, that one goes this way. So from a visit I took to Memphis in 2022. So these are all from my 2022 album, and I just kind of wrote where I wanted to write. I didn't have a big journal box on this page, so I just kind of stuck it in where I felt like it would fit. So this helps me give quite a few examples. Let me turn these. Okay. So this just helps give a few examples of different ways you can journal, different ways you can do your pages. So here's one I did with our Seaside collection. I think this last one is Serenity. So if you search my channel for some of these collections, I'm guessing you'll find that. This one is, I think it's either a tonal collection or I'm not sure which one this one was. Something from 2021 or maybe somewhere between 2021 and 2023, because that's when I started with Creative Memories. So anyway, so here are some of this is definitely an example of where I had the mats on the page already, and I wanted to keep my photos a little bit larger. So this one, actually, I think I had a larger mat, and so it does frame my photo on 3 sides. This one I just went with 2 sides. So you can see where it's, the shells are enough on this end. I just letting the paper shine through worked for me on that one. And then this one, you can see where I had put those small mats. This one might have been one of the project recipes, honestly, where they had space for small photos. And I really typically don't do the small photos. My cover page with me cutting these down are probably about as small as I get. But even this would look kind of funny in one of those little squares. So I just left them. I mean, the paper itself was pretty as it was. It worked with my photos, and it just wound up being a fine page as it was. It's going in my 2022 album. Now here's one with Painted Garden, and in fact, I think somebody commented on, I did all the work putting this little border along the side only to cover it up with my mats, but well, it worked for me. You know, if it doesn't work for you and you want to show every piece of paper you stuck on the side of the page, go for it. But for me, we went to a hummingbird festival in New Mexico. These I actually did wind up square framing. So this is one of our, I can even tell, this is one of the 4.5 by 6.5 mats. I plopped my 4x6 photo on it. And yeah, I can see just a little ridge of the inside of the mat up here. But you know what? It still works. I had that photo with this door from when we went to that festival. And, you know, like I said, my photos, I don't mind mixing and matching a little bit if they're around the same time, around the same place. You know, this was our Oregon Mountains near where we lived here. And this was the Hummingbird Festival here, and that's what I journaled about here on the mat with the hummingbirds. This is Painted Garden. So if you're searching for that one, you should be able to find this page as well. And honestly, I don't mind, you know, that somebody was sad that I covered it up. I think there's space for everything in scrapbooking. So, but I don't... I kind of go roughly sequentially, but not 100%. Like I said, I'm perfectly happy to mix in these sunset shots with something that we did at a specific time frame, and I knew this was in late summer-ish in New Mexico. And so, you know, maybe this was a summer sunset, maybe not. This might have been a spring one, but I'm okay with that. I'm not a super tied in sequential scrapbooker, I guess, if you will. And here's another one. This one was Wide Open Places, and I can tell, like, so this was one of those longer mats. This one had a mat here, so I'm going to show you all. And, you know, yeah, this one might have been made more for the, I think originally I might have been thinking I would have another horizontal photo here, and it just turned out that I'm sorry, a vertical photo, like this one, but you can see I have a mat here, and in fact it looks like it was potentially a double mat. So I'm just showing the top edges of it. And then this one, you can see I had another one, so I might have switched the photos for the mats I had. I'm okay with it. I got the photos onto the pages, I got my journaling done. It works with the collection, and I'm happy it's going in my album. I don't have to remake pages for those photos. Here are a couple of pages that I need to put photos onto. This is a layout. Honestly, I think that this one might have been from earlier this year. And where did I put my trimmer? Here. And when I was getting ready to finish sorting through my 2022 album, I noticed that I really just had the one cover photo from the Balloon Fiesta. And I thought, you know what? I want to print a few more photos for it. So I'm going to add another 2-page layout. And do I care that this collection came out in 2024 going into my 2022 album? Absolutely not. That's just me. And you know what? If you care, then that's perfectly okay too. I really want you all to know that, you really can't make any mistakes in scrapbooking. You can get your photos onto the pages and you can do them digitally like I showed you. You can create fresh pages like I showed you last week, or you can take some inspiration from what I'm showing you on YouTube here. And if you like a page I've done and you want to put it together, then do it. Go for it. And you might be surprised at how well your photos will work on those pages. Because honestly, when I put these pages together, I didn't know I was going to be putting balloon photos on it. It just worked. Some of my other photos, I really had no idea. Okay, so I want the 76 to show here. I'm going to go ahead and check this other side. So this is where this is part of my power layout process, if you will. And like I said, I'm definitely going to have another video on the full power layout process. But I kind of guesstimate where I want to put the photos on the pages. And then I trim down and we're going to stick these down. If I can figure out where I'm going to put my trimmer. All right, so I've gotten tape runner on everything here. I'm just going to go ahead and like I said, I'm putting these down. If I wind up with something just ever so slightly off, it's going to be what it's going to be. It's still going in the album. The page will be done, and I will add a little bit of journaling. Usually what I do is I sit down with my husband, and we go over our memories together of what he remembers from certain places, what I remember from certain places. Usually he remembers the names of the places, and I tend to remember events that happened, so it winds up being a really good mix for both of us. I'm taking the sticker up here at the top that has family on it. I'm lifting it up just a little bit with my multi-purpose tool. Y'all know I've talked a little bit about it, I think, in some of my videos, about how you can go back later and lift those up just a little bit. So it's going to go over my photo just a hair. I will hold it up to the camera to show you all a little bit more. Let's see, this one I need up a little bit higher. That one's going to be the bottom layer. So this is going about here. This is going to go up a little because this one I kind of want it in the matte. So let's do this first. Oops. It's a little harder when you have the tape on it. Here's that. So I'm going to get the bottom part of this stuck down. And then I'm going to tuck this one really close to the top edge of this one, because I like the balloon that has the 76 on it here. And I will show this also to you closer. But I also like this little balloon here that had the tiger face on it. There were just so many really interesting balloons at the Balloon Fiesta. Just trying to showcase some of those. And there, my 2-page layout is done. Here's the sticker overlapping my photo just a little bit. I could have put my photo up a little higher if I wanted. And here's those 2 balloons that I was really kind of trying to highlight as I was placing my photos. And yeah, I put 3 photos between 2 photo mats. That's the way I scrapbook. I'm going to probably journal in here. Maybe I might even cut a little bit of one of my index sheet scraps. I kind of have some that I've used for different things, and so I might put like a little, measure this piece here, put a little box, a little white box. But I might just journal over this flower too. Just depend on how I'm feeling, if I want to work faster or not. If I want to be quicker, I'll put a little title here, probably about the Balloon Fiesta, and then I will just write in here. And then I will probably also journal here, telling about how we made it in time for the flag to be raised at the Fiesta. We got there super early for the sunrise and to see the flag. go up on the balloon. It was really, really early. They recommend a couple of times, and we actually wish we'd gone even earlier. But those are those things you learn by experiencing those. I now have my 2022 album just about done, and we'll get that journaling done. I will get my pocket pages, and then I will put these into my album. What I do is I place them back to back in my pockets. Not this one because it's a 2-page spread, but you'll get the idea. You put it into your pocket, and then that goes into your album. And that also will be a future video as well. I'll show y'all how to do that. That's it for 2022. And then I think that's enough for today, friends. I am going to turn this video into a 2-part video because I have so many things I want to share with you, so many more pages, but I didn't want the video to be too long. I will continue to show more of my pages next week, and that way it will give us some more to look at and discuss in the comments. If you have any questions or comments for me, again, you can let me know which one is your favorite page, or maybe ask a question or two if you have any. I have made another video in my What is Scrapbooking series. It's going to be part 2 of how Catherine scrapbooks.